The quality of your relationships impacts the quality of your life. You may feel that you must maintain a relationship, good or bad, with certain people, family members or otherwise. Your upbringing and other factors are ingrained into your mind. Your worldview may include staying in a toxic or otherwise unhealthy relationship because, well, that's what you were brought up to believe. One lady recently recounted a crazy story about things a family member had done. As she told the shocking story, she stated, "Well, we have to get along because we're family." Does that situation ring true for you? I'm a big believer in keeping relationships intact as much as possible, but there are instances in my life where I had to simply hit pause. Does that resonate? I'm hopeful that it isn't permanent, but I've learned to shift my mindset to deal with the outcome in a healthy way, and you can too. Listen in to today's episode for tips on improving the quality of your relationships and learning when to let go if necessary. Find the full transcript for this episode, plus resources for women at estrangement, turning pain into peace at beckycole.com/4. You're listening to Estrangement, Turning Pain into Peace, a podcast and free resource for women with estranged relationships, created by me, host and coach Becky Kolb. My superpower is to help you turn your emotional pain into peace by conquering guilt and shame, rebuilding self-confidence, and developing healthy boundaries. I've dealt with estranged relationships most of my life and know both the pain and the peace. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss a thing. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Lack of quality relationships can lead to estrangement. Now, that may sound harsh, but stick with me. When you think about it, what can you control? Can you control other people's thoughts or actions? Or control what they say about you? Can you make someone love you who doesn't? Or make someone forgive you? You see, we think we can control outcomes, but the only one you can control is you. It's a hard reality, but when you accept that fact, you'll discover the first step in protecting your mental health. Estrangement is hard, and it's painful. Learning to control your narrative and listen to positive, upbeat messages about yourself will be a huge win for your mentality. Now, let me tell you that the 3 strategies we'll discuss today are a process. I wish it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, but it takes time and practice. You've already done a lot of hard work, and kudos to you for investing in yourself. Emotional pain from estrangement runs deep. Many emotions, such as guilt, shame, blame, and many others, contribute to the chaos and confusion you feel. So I encourage you to embrace this process, and you'll discover the peace and healing that you desire. Let's go. Strategy 1. Own your part in the estrangement. Now, I'm speaking to women who have had a part in an estranged relationship. I am not speaking to those who have no part, such as in the case of abuse. Estrangement occurs for a variety of reasons. Misunderstandings and an unwillingness to have a mature conversation to move forward. Divorce, affairs, sibling rivalry, giving up a child, past hurt and pain that affect your behavior. These are just a few examples from women I've worked with. You may find yourself in one of those, and you may not even know why the estrangement began. All you know is that a person you loved and cared about no longer wants you in their life, and that hurts deeply. In fact, you may feel that it's a deeper pain than anything physical you've experienced. The quality of relationships has diminished, and you just want peace. The first strategy that you can do is to examine and play your part in the conflict. You may know of an attitude or something you said or did to contribute to the estrangement. This step will involve some deep thinking and an open mind. Your tendency to blame the other is natural, and it's one I played for a long time. The truth is that it takes 2 people to have a relationship, and there are no winners in the blame game. And what most won't tell you is that it takes two people to walk away from a relationship. You may be the one to say you're walking away, but often the other person has already done so in subtle ways. They left the relationship long ago with emotional withdrawal. I found that some blame the person who walked away, but fail to realize their own contribution in the way they disregarded the relationship. Don't take on blame that isn't yours. Regardless of who left, somewhere along the way, something triggered someone to walk away from the relationship with you. For me, it was divorce and all that surrounded that decision. And today, almost 30 years later, I still have estrangement from an adult child. I've been able to set the blame aside and really analyze how my decisions affected others. If you've done that and taken responsibility for your part, then pat yourself on the back. That's a big step in your estrangement healing. And if not, then I encourage you to invest in your emotional well-being and take some time to explore your part so that you can take responsibility. And that will also stop the blaming, which prevents your healing, and be a catalyst in improving the quality of relationships. Strategy 2 is to forgive yourself. Once you've accepted and taken responsibility for your part in the estrangement, you can begin to work on strategy 2. Learn to forgive yourself. The hardest part of this process is that the person with whom you are estranged may not forgive you. Hear me on this. That is on them, not you. They may be unable to forgive because it will cause them to confront their own feelings and fears. It's easier to blame others or remain unforgiving than it is to work on yourself. I struggled with this one big time. I felt that if they withheld forgiveness, I was somehow unworthy and a bad person. I needed their forgiveness to be whole. That's simply not true. When you've taken responsibility and apologized for your part in an estranged relationship, you've done all you can do. It's up to the other person to forgive. You really have no control. And remember, they're dealing with their own set of issues, some of which you may know nothing about. So give yourself some grace, forgive yourself, and let it go. Don't let guilt or negativity enter your mind about this issue again. Strategy 3 is forgiving others is essential. Earlier, I said it's easier to hold on to blame and remain unforgiving than to deal with your own issues. I found that to be true in my situation. And if you want peace and healing from estrangement, this strategy is paramount. In fact, it is the key to improving the quality of relationships in your life. Oh, the inner voices that work to keep you from forgiving. Some of these sound familiar? They don't deserve forgiveness. What they did to me was unforgivable. Forgiving them is just letting them off the hook. I've tried and I just can't. The memories keep coming back and causing pain. I know those voices as I heard them 100 times. As you learn to forgive yourself, you'll find a more compassionate you. You'll begin to realize that you're not perfect. No one is, not even your offender. And once you take responsibility for your decisions and acknowledge the pain you caused in the relationship, you'll discover an internal peace, a spirit that allows others to make mistakes too. Forgiving your offender isn't letting them off the hook. It's releasing your right to revenge. It's laying down your anger and bitterness, giving you space to begin to fully heal. It's a gift you give yourself. Forgiveness is the fundamental key to estrangement healing. Without it, you'll continue to suffer through anger, bitterness, blame, shame, guilt, and a host of emotions that will just keep you stuck. Forgiveness is a choice that you'll make every day. It's a lifelong process, and I can tell you from experience, you won't feel like you've forgiven right away. But if you're committed to your emotional healing and make the choice daily to forgive, you'll find it's easier each day. And eventually, you'll discover those negative and hurtful emotions are gone, and the quality of relationships with others will improve too. Isn't it worthwhile to consider giving this gift to yourself? Are you ready for improving quality of relationships? I know how difficult it can be. I also know the rewards of making the commitment to these 3 strategies: taking responsibility, forgiving yourself, and forgiving others is the proven method to let go of the painful emotions of estrangement and find lasting healing and peace. Your estranged relationships can create issues for you and other relationships too. And don't you want to improve the quality of relationships with all those connected to you? You're worth it. I hope you'll consider these strategies and finally be able to let go and experience the wonderful healing they will bring. And until next time, remember, you're a beautiful and amazing woman. Thanks for listening to the podcast, Estrangement, Turn Pain into Peace. I know you have your own story filled with emotional pain, or know someone who does. Learn more about the successful strategies I use to help women turn that pain into lasting peace and joy. And if you know other women who struggle with estrangement, please share. Until next time, remember, you're an amazing and beautiful woman.